Hey, Brandon here. Welcome to my channel and thanks for tuning in. Welcome to the first episode of the Devy Stock Report. On this show, we are going to be discussing your favorite Devy players after each week of college ball and discussing which players or stock is on the rise and potentially, unfortunately, would be on the fall. So plan is to be here weekly, so hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 4,000 subscribers. Of course, before we get started, I have to introduce my co-host, Jason DiRienzo from Devy Watch. Jason, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Brandon. College football's here. We got through week 0. Week 1 is coming up, man. That Ohio State Notre Dame game, 7:30 p.m. on Saturday. I am all over that game. So yeah, totally excited, man. How about you?
Yeah, I am too. I think Penn State plays Thursday night. If I, so it's a nice.
You are correct. Yes.
Yes, a nice preview to Thursday night football the following week. Yeah. So Jason and I, we've been talking about doing this show for a while. So we're going to try, like I said, to do this weekly. So again, hit that subscribe button, tune into the channel. Dropped a ton of films this week as well. So we're excited to get started, man. So let's get right into it. So, it was week 0 this week. Didn't have a ton of games, but I think we saw some glimpses, some guys that I'm kind of excited about. So we're each got 3 players tonight that we're going to discuss a little bit in detail. Guys that we feel stock have rose, and I've got one faller. So I'm going to kick us off here, Jason. I'm just, the North Carolina game for me was the game that I was most excited to see. And when I heard that Drake May was going to get the start, I was pretty excited because he was a guy last year a lot of people were drafting, knowing that Sam Howell was moving on. And I have to say, I was impressed. He is my first riser that we're going to talk about tonight. It's probably a riser for most people. Like I said, there's not a lot of players to choose from. I think next week when we do this, we're going to have a lot more players to choose from. Oh, yeah. So I know there's stock up and stock down articles and stuff all over the place. But Drake May, man, I really was impressed with his first game. Again, I think of these young men with the pressure being on national TV, the whole thing, and going out there. And I thought he played relatively well. He was 29 to 37 for 294 yards and threw 5 touchdowns. First and foremost, I love his frame. He's 6'4", 220 pounds. So he's got that good size that you want for a quarterback. But what I really liked was his mobility for a guy his size and his toughness. I don't know, Jason, if you saw that leap into the end zone, which probably wasn't advisable from his coaches. No, I'm sure his coaches pulled him to the sideline and said, no, we're not doing that anymore. Right. But I thought that play, he ran for 42 yards early in the game. He set the tone and just took control, and the leadership ability I really liked. And I also liked the fact that he hit 10 different receivers and 4 different players scored touchdowns. So he spread the ball around. And there was actually, I have a video on my YouTube channel of his first performance, and they showed a clip where he spread the ball to the left side of the field, the middle part of the field, and to the right. So you feel as though he's got the good decision-making process, and his coaches this offseason said that the reason he got the start was because of how the team rallied around him and the mental processing. And I put that in quotations because, as we know, in the quarterback world, it's all about what's up here, most likely that's going to make you successful at the NFL and reach our dynasty rosters, which is what we're talking about today, right?
Right.
So I know the competition is going to get tougher. I know it was a cupcake game. Most of the first 2 weeks are cupcake games, for most teams out there. But you and I are in a dynasty startup, right? And I took him with my last Devy pick.
I saw that.
You saw that as we were drafted. I said, I got to get a piece of this guy. I was really impressed. And correct me if I'm wrong. Did I see a tweet out there from you saying something that the stats were?
Oh yeah,
I'm
going to argue with you on this one just slightly.
Okay,
so I wanted to let you finish.
Good. No, I'm good. Go for it. Rip me apart.
Okay. I honestly didn't come away as impressed as you did. I thought he kind of threw the ball behind his receivers. Now, I heard the announcers say that he was actually helping his receiver out by throwing it behind him, so he didn't lead him into a tackle. I mean, there were some throws that were pretty erratic and not on point, but I did learn my lessons from CJ Stroud not to judge early on. Development is key. So I'm not going to hold this against him. He definitely performed well, 5 touchdowns. I can't argue that. But there are definitely some things against the competition he faced with a team that was lacking a lot of talent that they're missing, that I expected even more from him, just as far as maybe simpler reads, maybe just simpler passes. I mean, some of the touchdowns he had, his guys were wide open. But it is what it is. It's week 0. I'm not going to judge too much. I guess I just expected a little bit more consistency from how he was throwing the ball, the anticipation, leading his receivers, and just being accurate. You could even see Josh Downs got a little frustrated at times with Drake May. So early on, we'll see what happens, but I wasn't as enthused, I don't think, as you were.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I don't play for you as a coach, because I think your expectation is just a little high for a guy, his first start on, like I said, on national TV. So, and let me tell you something, that pass that he had to the center, to Josh Downs, and he went up and made that spectacular grab. He threaded the needle on that. So, anyway,
I'm not saying anything about his arm strength. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, like the Devy, for me, the QB Devy, I've been on record for a long time, is not, the future is not as bright as I think a lot of people think in the a lot of projection that we have going on. But first game, I'm impressed. Who do you have I'm assuming you've got a stock up player you want to talk about?
Yeah, I do. Chase Brown, Illinois running back, 5'11", 205. Came out to perform, man. I mean, some of his runs were really easy, kind of ran right into the end zone, but I liked what I saw from his agility, his ability to create for himself slightly. I would have liked to see a little bit more, but from what I expected from him, he did a lot more. So he's capping off a 1,000-yard season last year. A great start for him. Showed the ability to be a solid pass catcher when needed. Had a nice over-the-shoulder catch in the end zone. Caught all 3 of his targets for 16 yards. Not that big of a deal, but when he was asked to be a pass catcher, he did so, and he was reliable. So I think he's got good, not good speed. I would say solid speed, but runs with authority. And I just liked what I saw from him. Good pad level, and just showed the tenacity that I want from a running back. And as a blocker, I saw him, make the attempt to kind of protect his quarterback a few times, which is good to see too. So Chase Brown, good start. And, if he has another high performance year, that'll be good for his possible draft capital. I don't see him as a, day 1 or day 2 type guy, definitely a day 3, but we've seen these day 3 guys be able to show up as part-timers in the NFL. So I could see something like that for him.
Yeah, I think he was. I was impressed with that. He'll be a senior next year, so he'll be an older back too. But he might be a good complementary depth piece. And we're going through that right now with our rookie class now, right? We've got guys who are going to stick on rosters. Today was the big depth chart day and the cut day in the NFL. So, I think that's a good call. I'm going back to North Carolina for my second riser, and I'm going to go with Marvin Hampton. Again, ever since Javonte Williams and Michael Carter has left North Carolina, us in the Devy community, we're salivating, right, over that next running back pair, or at least get one out of that backfield. I mean, last year there was Khalib Hood and Camaro Edmonds, I think that was his name. Two guys that, we were all kind of drafting last year, and I think we're going to strike out on that. So this year it was Petaway and Hampton. That was the 2 guys coming in now. And I was impressed with what I saw with Hampton. I mean, I don't think he's got the best lateral agility or anything, but he's got that size at 6 foot, 220. He led all running backs with 14 carries, 101 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Again, the competition wasn't great. I know Florida A&M were missing players on the defensive side of the ball and all that, but he showed some ability, and I think he's going to be in a committee. So it's going to be really interesting for me in this North Carolina backfield this year, because someone's going to emerge. And I think right now the depth charts came out today, right, for all of these teams in anticipation of week 1 this weekend. And, Hampton was listed at number 2 with Petaway, only behind DJ Jones. And of course, he's the senior guy, in that backfield. So they're probably going to try and lean, especially with Drake May playing his first season. I think they're going to run the ball, a lot. And I'm expecting Marvin Hampton. George Petaway looked really good too, but I'm not going to talk about both of them. Really had some elusiveness in the open field as well. So I know a lot of people were excited about Petaway. Now, Hampton didn't get any targets coming out of the backfield. I'm not sure from high school if he was, involved in the passing game much. I know Petaway came into the Devy community this year as a freshman. People excited about his dual threat, being able to run the ball, but he's a smaller back at 195, where, Hampton's got that 220-pound frame, who's going to be able to really, knock some people over on the defensive side of the ball. So could he be the next Javonte Williams or whatever? I know a lot of people are hoping so, but stock up for Hampton. I think he made an impact. I got 2 shares of him out of my 8 or 9 Devy, C2C league. So at least I got a flavor, but I was impressed by his first game this week.
I love Hampton, man. I wish he had a little bit more juice. which is what I'm hoping to see over the coming years, because that is something that he can train to do. But man, if North Carolina was ever going to find some sort of replacements for the Michael Carter, Javonte Williams duo, I feel like they did a pretty freaking good job with these two guys,
Yeah.
especially out the gate. They just look like they're going to be the combination that is going
Yep.
to help this team throughout the next coming years. And Drake May is going to absolutely love them. So kudos to UNC. That was a great pickup on their part. Love both of those kids.
Great. Who you got?
Yes. I noticed something on your end, which is why I'm going with my next guy. And we're going to the high school portion of this. Mikhail Lemon, man. I love this kid when I was watching his film previously. And this past weekend when I was watching him, man, did he impress me. So he showed good hands, a little bit inconsistency with the hands, but he made some spectacular catches. There was one, I think it was in the back of the touchdown. No, it was right in front of the end zone at the 1 yard line where he had to adjust behind the defender and snag the ball low. And I was like, dude, like that right there, that's what I want to see. Just had a dominant performance. Let's see, at 17 receptions, 201 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a 65-yard touchdown that got called back. And he also returned a 97-yard kickoff for a touchdown. So this kid is versatile. He's a playmaker, 6'1", 180, just deadly on crossing and drag routes. Kills the center of the field and shows good dominance on the perimeter. So I am tires up on freaking Mikhail Lemon.
Yeah, well, on this YouTube channel, everybody, I've got a full highlight film of the
do.
game, so it's pretty dominant. And you know what? The one thing I liked about him, if you don't know me yet, Jason, you will soon enough. And one thing I love about wide receivers is physicality, and he brings physicality even for his size. And if you noticed in that game, what I noticed a lot, he played a lot of the X receiver on the outside. He was always in the guy's face, stiff arming his opponent. After he made
he's
the
got
catch.
some dog in him.
He's got dog. That's right. He's got that physicality dog, man. And that is some good stuff. He was into that game and they got blown away in that game. And he performed well to the very end of that game. So he did not give up at all. So, all right, I got my one faller for this week. And, I'm going to kind of preface this with what you had said about Drake May, right? I went into a game wanting to, because I honestly, I've not watched a ton of high school film. I know you're all into the high school film, and I'm not going to pretend that I've watched all of these juniors or seniors in high school at the beginning of their senior season. But Malachi Nelson, same guy, who was throwing the ball right to Lemon. I just came away really unimpressed with what I saw. Now, I went into this game thinking to myself, I was going to make a film of this game. And again, there's a film on this YouTube channel of Nelson's game. All right. But he's very thin at 6'3", 6'4", 180, 183 pounds, depending on what site that you're on. I thought his accuracy was very hit or miss. I felt that he didn't have a lot of velocity on his throws. And I know he's a senior in high school, and I get that he's going to get stronger in the college program and stuff like that. But I think what I didn't like, what I kind of watched with him, is just being on national TV. This was like his moment, right? And I didn't like the body language on the field. I didn't feel like he was commanding the offense, just the way he was handling himself. He did have 3 TDs, so he was productive. But this guy's been hyped up as like the number 1 QB, right? So I was really expecting to see more leadership on the field. And I kind of look for those things, especially at the quarterback position, not just the physical traits, but to see kind of, we can get an insight as to who he is a little bit. But I don't know. I just think his accuracy was all over the place. And I don't know. Did you watch the film I made?
I'm going to be honest. I saw his name on the sheet and I came in here wanting to argue with you, and I was looking forward to it. I can't. I went back because I was focused on Mikhail Lemon, and I started watching Nelson a little bit further. I came away unimpressed too. I thought that he just didn't put the velocity on the ball that I expected, not from what I saw from his film last year that made me want to put him QB1. There was something up with this game. It didn't even look like the same player that I had watched from the Huddle film last season. So I can't disagree with you. I came away wanting so much more from a guy who's being hyped up so much. So maybe I'm gonna say maybe, but I'm actually gonna say hopefully. This is one of those games that I could just kind of throw away because it's not what he truly is. But I wanted to argue with you, and I can't. So
Yeah,
that's frustrating.
I'm looking forward to arguing with you too someday. All right. So, all right. Who's your third player tonight?
Yeah, I was looking for a faller just that could stand out to me. And I know this guy was probably on some Devy rosters. So Harrison Bailey came from Tennessee and went to UNLV thinking that he could actually be the starter and got beat out by Drumfield. So it's not Bailey's done. It's over.
It's
if he
over.
couldn't if he couldn't get the starting job, and the thing is the team waited till like the game, I believe, to name who the starter is, and Bailey missed out on that. It's over. You can actually just drop him, fill a spot up with somebody else.
I'll tell you what, you know, I watch high school film, not as probably as much as you did, but I'll tell you, Harrison Bailey was a lesson learned for me because he played with Eric Gilbert in high school. And those two had a really good connection. And he was big. He, you know, had the Tennessee. He was going to Tennessee. He worked with Peyton Manning because Manning was from Tennessee, and he had the size, the big arm, and what a letdown. I'm one of those people that have Harrison Bailey scars all over my Devy rosters. I'm going to admit it, and it's very painful. But,
okay, well, I didn't go on a limb trying to figure out who was a faller. I was like, maybe this guy, maybe, but
yeah, well, he is. I mean, because listen, he went to Tennessee. He was supposed to be the guy.
For sure.
I know the old coach that was there before the one now probably didn't do him any help, but nonetheless, I think that he is definitely a Devy asset that you can drop, and he will never ever reach our dynasty rosters. So
he donezo.
He's donezo. Yeah. So, all right, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Like I said, we're going to keep these short, sweet, and to the point. We're going to try and get on here weekly, if not bi-weekly for sure. So thanks for tuning in. And again, subscribe to the channel. It's helped me support this channel. And we got a lot of great stuff coming up. Rich Adams is going to be doing a C2C start and sit show on this YouTube channel.
Oh, that's
as well.
So must watch.
Yeah. So we're going to get into that shortly. So, but thanks, Jason, again, man. We're going to do a lot of these. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thanks, guys. See ya.